This video, I am going to be talking about three ways that can keep your faith exciting. 3 ways that can keep your faith exciting. But before I get into that, let me introduce myself. My name is Deidre Williams-Pittman. As you can see, I am the founder of Exciting Faith Ministries. My job and what I do is I help people go from no faith to little faith to great faith. And what I like to call that the faith makeover. The faith makeover process. So I call myself Deidre, the faith makeover coach. So if you are down in your faith or you feel like you got a little bit of faith, come see me. I'll get you right into shape so you can live the life that God has created for you. So that's what I do. I teach you how to make over your faith. I also have a blog, as you can see here. I don't know if it's over there or over there, but it's called excitingfaith.com. And it's just a blog that I talk about how I went from no faith to little faith to great faith, and I'm trying to move to greater faith. So that's what I do, and that's what I like to do. Today I want to talk about how faith can be fun if you live by it. How faith can be real exciting if you decide to live by faith. And just think of faith as being like on a treasure hunt. Like God gives you the treasure map, and you have to figure out your way and how to get to the end result, the thing that God has promised you. So that's what faith is. It's really an exciting adventure, but like I said, it can be fun if you live by it. So I'm going to talk about 3 things that you can do, or 3 ways that I've learned over the years how to make my faith exciting. But you got to really want to know how to take the risk. You got to be able to take the risk. And that's a problem with some of us. We don't like to take the risk. We have to take godly risk, not our own risk, but godly risk. But the first thing I want to talk about is playing it safe. The Bible says that the just shall live by faith. And what that simply means is that you have to live by faith every day of your life. In other words, you have to learn to take a risk every day of your life, every minute, every second of your life. Just like you live 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days of the year, you have to live by faith every single day. But faith requires you taking a risk, not your own risk, like I said before, but a godly risk. There's a difference. I'll give you an example real quick before we get into the first step. I remember getting an apartment, trying to get an apartment for me and my children. And I was so excited about the area, and I filled out the application and went home, paid my security deposit, or the application fee, I think it was my application fee. And I went home, I packed my stuff, me and the kids, we walked all over the house, we named it, we claimed it, we was excited. And I thought, that I was operating in faith, by touching, agreeing, my kids, we excited, we singing and stuff all over the apartment that we thought was ours. Like I said, I went home and packed. I got a phone call, and I was denied the apartment. And I thought that I was operating in faith. So over the years, I found out that what I was doing, I was operating in fantasy and not faith. There's a difference. I took my own risk. And through prayer, the Lord began to say to me that you never prayed about it. You never asked me if you could pursue. Right? So what we have to learn to do is go to God and ask God, can we pursue this? Can I pursue this? And if he says yes, you better get going. Because if he says yes, that means he's got your back. So we have to learn to take godly risk and not our own risk. Now we're going to talk about playing it safe. God gives us assignments. He gives us gifts. He gives us talents, and we play it safe. The potter, that what he's telling us to do, we're the clay, but we're telling the potter, I'm not good enough for you to do what you called me to do. Who does that? Who goes and tell your creator that you're not good enough, you're not worthy, and you're not qualified if he told you to go, or if he told you to do something? So if he called you to write a book, why would you go to God and say, God, I'm not a writer. I'm not good. I wasn't good in writing. How could you give me the gift of scribe to write a book? So we have to learn to stop playing it safe. And one of the things is that when God begins to tell you to do something, or gives you an assignment, the first thing we do, and I'm a witness, the first thing we do is we think about the people. We have to be delivered from people. We have to be delivered from people. If you're the kind of person that worries about what other people think about you, or worry about what they're going to say when you launch this project, or when you launch this ministry, or you got to be delivered from people. So you need to go back and ask God to deliver you from people. In order to live by faith, you cannot think about what others are going to say about you, what other people are going to think about you, if they're going to buy your product, if they're going to participate in your conference, if they're going to come support you. That's not your concern. Your concern is to do what God has called you to do. Deliver yourself from people. That's the first thing you do before you can operate in faith, before you can operate in faith and taking a risk. The second thing you want to do is miss yourself with the excuses. Miss yourself with the excuses. When God calls you to do something, he's not looking for excuses. We want to have money, but we don't want to do the work to get it. So you make up so many excuses why you can't. So you make so many excuses why today you didn't pick up a book or do the research. You make so many excuses of why, right? Some people say I'm too old. Some people say, I'm too young. I'll wait until I'm older to do that. But you give yourself too many excuses. So you have to miss yourself with excuses. Whatever God has called you to do, miss yourself with excuses. Because if he's called you to do it, he's qualified you to do it. And the truth of the matter is, he's really, really not looking for you to have the ability. He just needs you to say, yes, Lord, use me. I'm willing to do it. Right? And it's safe. We have to get out of the boat. Playing it safe with your gifts, your talents, anything God is telling you to do, it's like you're telling God, no, I'm not doing it. You procrastinate. It's like telling God, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. You can't, if you want God to unlock those doors that are so tight, if you want God to unlock those, you got to say yes. You got to be willing to fly like an eagle. You got to want to fly like an eagle. You want to fly. When I look at the eagle and I see that he spread his wings and he's not even flapping and he's just still going and going. I don't know about you, that gets me excited. I don't want to get out the boat and walk on water. Let me tell you something. When you live the exciting faith life, people are going to look at you crazy. They're going to look at you like you don't know what you're talking about. They're going to look at you like you don't know what you're doing. That idea is crazy. That movie you're about to make is crazy. And here's the thing. Jesus didn't play it safe. So why should you? Jesus played nothing safe. Nothing was safe. So why should you play it safe? If you're looking, like I said, if you're looking for God to unlock those doors and to see the supernatural power of God in your life, you need to take a risk and stop playing it safe with your stuff. Stop playing it safe. Don't create those gifts and talents for you. So those ideas you have, do them. Just because somebody else has the same idea doesn't mean that you guys can't do the same thing. There are many people that I follow on Facebook and Instagram that are doing the same thing I'm doing. But it's not going to stop me from doing what God has called me to do, because what he's called me to do is something different. It's the same thing, but it's packaged different, if I can say that. The same thing is all how you package it. Right? So it's the same thing, but it's packaged different. But we have to learn to get out on the boat and get out of the boat and stop worrying about what other people think. Playing it safe is not an option when you're looking to live an exciting faith life. Listen, I'm going to say this. If you do everything the same way all day, every day, your life is boring. I don't like to do that. I hate repetition, but I don't like to do that. Your life is boring if you do the same old thing every single day. You have to learn to listen to God and ask God, what is the plan for the day, God? What is the agenda for today? What can we do today? It has to be a new adventure every day you wake up. Every day, God, what are we doing today? Who do you want me to pray for today? What you want me to do today, God? It has to be so exciting that you and God are on an adventure together. You might as well put your backpack on of faith and begin to walk out that door and say, we're going to do something today. God has something for me to do. I'm willing and ready to do it, and we're going to move forward, and we're going to do it. Right? The thing I want to talk about is feed your faith. You have to feed it. Faith thrives. It thrives on. You have to give it something to thrive on. Right? You have to give your faith something to thrive on. So for instance, purchase a building. You want to purchase a building. And God says, you know what? I want you to purchase this building, and I want you to open up a community center, right? You don't know where to go. That should get you excited in itself, that God has entrusted in you to open up a community center. So what's going to happen? You have to do the research, find out what you need to do to get that community center, keep it quiet, and then just do what God tells you to do. The Bible says that the word is a lamp unto my feet. You have to stay before the Lord and ask God to give you the vision and the idea, or the provision or direction to go is what I want to say. The direction to go. And here's why I say that. Because God, he will give you the blueprint, but he'll only give you half the blueprint. So you have to always go back to God to find out what the next step is in order for you to get this community center. And to me, that's exciting because he takes you down this narrow road. See, everybody wants to go the broad road. Everybody wants to take the easy way out. But God, he takes you a different way. He takes you through the narrow gate where nobody else won't go. He wants to take you to the place where nobody else won't move, right? So he wants to show out through you. He wants you to live the impossible. And that's what we have to learn. As faith people, we have to learn to live the impossible. People have to come up to you and ask you what the reason for your hope is. They have to come to you and ask you, how did you get this building? How did you get that house? How did you start that ministry? How did you write that book? How did you get your Facebook Live like that? You get what I'm trying to say? People were going to start to ask you, how do you do this? Because you didn't take the same route that everybody else took. You took a different route because God led you another way. But you got to be willing to take that risk. You have to be willing to say, God, I will go to the left when everybody else is going right. God, I will go to the right when everybody else is going left. Lord, I will go this way when everybody else is going that way, just to prove that you are in my life, just to prove that I am in the faith. Now, here's another thing. Whatever you believe, you have to act on it. So if you believe you are a writer, show somebody that you're a writer. You have to live out what you believe. So if you're going around telling everybody I'm starting a business, if you're going around telling everybody I'm writing a book, you're going to have to show some signs that you're actually doing it. You have to live out what you believe. You have to prove what you believe. And another thing is, let God think through you. This is my favorite. Let God think through you. People of God, man of God, woman of God, you have the mind of Christ. There should be no excuse how or why you can't do something. If you got the mind of Christ, you are able to do all things through Christ. You can do it because you have the mind of Christ. There should be no excuse. If say this, as a little girl, my mother bought me a sewing machine. I did not know how to sew. I didn't know how to sew, but I sat myself. As a little girl, I think I had to be about 13 or 14 years old. And my mother bought me a sewing machine, old-fashioned Singer. And I sat there and I began to look at an old skirt, take that old skirt apart and recreate that skirt. Never had a sewing class lesson, never did anything. And then a couple of years later, a two-piece pantsuit from scratch, no pattern, no nothing. I'm telling you guys, you have the mind of Christ. You can do anything, anything. And let me say this. I remember one time I was pregnant with my son, and I had a flat tire. I did not know how to change a tire, and I had a flat tire, and I pulled over and I changed the tire myself, just by sitting there studying it, trying to figure it out, knowing I had to lift the car up, and take all those lugs off. I didn't know how to do that. I had to go to prayer and ask God to show me, give me direction how to do the tire. Here's another thing that the Holy Spirit dropped on me. I used to love pickle jars. But ladies, them pickle jars are really tight. So I had to go every time and pray and ask God to give me strength to open that pickle jar, right? And when I asked for strength to open the pickle jar would just suddenly open up, right? We can figure it out. You were created to create. You were created to create. So there's no excuse why you can't live by faith every day. There's no excuse why you cannot take a risk of faith every day in your life because you have the mind of Christ. You were created to create. And you have to learn to live the impossible. If you want God to do something in your life, you have to learn how to take a risk. And I'm going to ask you a question. In the Bible, there's a story where Peter had to pay a tax, I believe. And he asked Jesus, what he's going to do. And Jesus said to him, go to the sea, cast your net into the sea, and the first fish you catch, take the money out and pay your tax and pay my tax. But wait a minute. Judas was in charge of the money. Why didn't Jesus send Peter to Judas to get the money? What I tell you in the beginning, God doesn't play things safe. He doesn't do it safe. So I'm going to ask you, do you want to go to the bank or do you want to find money in the sea? Which one is more exciting? Like, which road would you rather take? Which one is more exciting? Do you want to follow the crowd or do you want to climb the tree like Zacchaeus did? Or do you want to follow the crowd into the house or do you want to climb up the roof and go through the roof? Which one is more exciting? I don't know about you, but I want to take the exciting faith way. Hey, the things I want to do it exciting. I want y'all to come to me and say, D, how did you do that? And I want to be able to say, girl, nobody but God, right? I want to be able to do that, but you have to learn to take the risk. If you don't take the risk, I'm telling you, your life is going to be, your faith life is going to be boring. It's going to be mundane. It's going to be the same old way, but you have to be willing to take the risk. That's what exciting faith is. I'm ready to take the risk. I'm ready to stop playing it safe. Stop playing it safe with my gifts and my talents. It's safe with the ministry and the things that God has given me and start doing what God has called me to do. Because the truth of the matter is there are people who are tied, and I say this all the time, there are people who are tied and attached to your assignment, your gifts, but because you decide to play it safe, these people are on the sideline waiting. You causing people to be stagnated because you have not done what you've done. There are people waiting for you. And here's the thing. You have to stop worrying about the outcome. That's not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to do the work. Your responsibility is to take the risk. Your responsibility is to take the risk and move forward and jump. Your responsibility is not to know the outcome. And that's the problem. We want to know the outcome before we jump. That's not what a risk is. Now, let me explain this story. It just dropped in my head. My daughter loves roller coasters. I can't stand them. I hate them. Every time she gets on one, I'm pleading the blood of Jesus because I'm frightened that something's going to happen or she's going to fall out or something like that. But she just gets so excited. And I sit there like, I'm not getting on no roller coaster, right? Her and my other daughter, they would get on roller coasters and then they come back and their adrenaline is like, oh, that was awesome. That was great. Mom, you should have been on it. Their adrenaline is crazy, right? But I'm sitting there like, yeah, whatever. I'm not getting on it, but I sure was praying for them. So I ask you a question. When God asks you to do something, does your adrenaline get excited? Like, yeah, God, we're going to do this, right? Or do you be like, nah, God, I ain't doing that because people are going to say something about me or they're going to think something about me or they're not going to be accepted. I'm not worried about being accepted. I'm not worried about being liked. All I care about is doing what God has called me to do because he has more for me than meets the eye, right? He has more for me than I can ever imagine. And to me, that's exciting. I'm like, God, what are we going to do today? I'm like, God, that was hot. What are we going to do? What are we going to do tomorrow? Like, Lord, you have me pray over somebody. Wow, God, I like this. We have to be ready and willing to do what God calls us to do every day of our lives. And that's exciting. We have to make ourselves available to God every day of our lives. When we walk out in the street, we have to say, Lord, I'm available to you. What is it that you want me to do? He'll send you in the grocery store and say, pray over him or pray over her. He'll send you into the beauty salon and say, I just want to drop this seed. And when you walk away, your adrenaline starts to pump. You start to be excited like, God, I like this. It makes you feel like that you are part of God's kingdom. Don't you want to feel like you're a part? Don't you want to feel like you're doing something? Sometimes, I feel if I don't do something or if I have not called anybody or encouraged somebody or have not sowed a seed or have not prayed for somebody, I don't feel like I've done anything, right? I don't feel like I've done anything for the kingdom of God. So I want to be ready and available to live this exciting faith every day. Who do you want me to pray for today, God? Right? Who do you want me to call today, God? Who do you want me to encourage? Who do you want me to sow into or pour into? That's exciting to me. When God says, I need you to go over here. I need you to do this. I need you to write this book. I need you to start this blog. I need you to preach this word, teach this thing. That's exciting to me. That I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting hot and exciting. It's exciting to me that to know that God, I am available to be used by God, and God sees enough of me or fit for me to say, Deidre, I want to use you. We have to say, Lord, use me. Lord, give me ideas, think through me, and then let God use you. Because the truth of the matter is, he just wants to use you so he can show out in your life so you can live the impossible. Don't you want to live the impossible every single day of your life? We have to show the world what it's like to live the impossible so people can to look at you and say, I want to know his God, or I want to know her God. What's it going to take? What's it going to take for you to step out on faith and say, you know what, God, I've been playing with this ministry. I've been playing with this organization. I've been playing. Who can I call? Who do I need to call to start this process? Get you a notebook, do whatever you got to do. But guys, let people know what faith, living by faith every day looks like. And it's all about taking risks. It's all about taking risks. In the comments, let me know what you want to know about faith. Anything that you have any questions on or anything that you want to know, write it in the comments. We can talk about how to live faith during obstacles. My husband will tell you in a minute that I'm very nonchalant when it comes to trouble. I'm very nonchalant, and it took me a while to get there. And I'll teach that and teach you how to not to be so crazy over trouble, because the way I look at trouble, God already overcame the world. So what am I worried about, right? So we'll talk about that. So I know what you want to know, and we'll talk about that. Again, I thank you guys for joining. I love you all. Don't forget to share, and peace out.